Boom. Peeps, what is the beef? It's your man here, Cameron again, with the fucking PO, the BO, the GO. Need you to come in strong there, Peter. Like fucking.
Let's go. Here we go.
Remember that BBC documentary a couple of years ago on Tourette's? People walking through the supermarket going, "Oh, that's the way you need to come in with your name, Peter."
Yeah, was it John's okay or something like that, or John's not okay? That was fucking that Scottish dude. The Scottish dude walking down the road, he punches Auntie in the face.
What? Hold on a sec. The BBC is totally off topic. I was only thinking this walking home earlier on. The BBC made that documentary. Said, "Now we're going to make a nice little piece that looks into the lives of people who suffer with Tourette's," fully knowing that it's an unfortunate affliction, and I'm sure they're great people. It's the fucking funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm not
Literally.
fucking hilarious. Some man walking down the street, cunts.
Yeah, there's a bloke called, I think his name is it starts with Q. He has a Facebook page, like an Instagram page, and he reads. He started off where he'd be reading like bedtime stories or lullabies, you know. Little Bo Peep, fuck the fucking sheep. And he's trying to get through it. Now he streams Fortnite while he's going through a mental Tourette's. It's fucking brilliant.
You gotta cash in on that, man. You gotta fucking.
Oh, he's class. He's class.
It's not an affliction. Anyway.
We
Episode
digress.
number four, you fucking creeps. What we are talking about today, chefs, is your environment is killing you. That's the topic today. Right now, you mightn't understand what I actually mean by that, and you're gonna have a full understand by the time I'm fucking done with you. Same with this fella over here. Basically, what we mean by that is your environment. Think about it. Your environment is everything around you and the people around you. You have to think about it like this. You're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And I think for a lot of chefs, they're heavily, heavily, heavily influenced up here by who the fuck is around them. You know, really it's a big, big thing. And the reason that I don't want to talk about this is because I feel it holds a lot of chefs back. And I feel if you get the environment right, it can also accelerate the results and it can accelerate what you're doing in your life. I think Peter can attest to this in joining Chef Fit, and I'll explain that now in a second. But starting off at a foundational level, we're talking about the environment that you're in. So, like, think about when you go on holidays. Like, you literally you fucking step off the plane, you're going to Spain, and it's like, you feel different. There's something very different about it. That's the power of a change in environment. The same thing happens when you're in the company of certain people. Chances are, if you spend the most of your time with a negative cunt, you're going to probably end up being a negative cunt, you know. Spend a good majority of your time with really positive people who are pushing ahead. Chances are you'll be positive and you'll push ahead. This is something that people really, 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 really fucking overlook. And like, if you show me your friends, I'll show you your future. It's that simple. A guy called Dan Pena said that. Show me your friends, I'll show you your future. And it's fucking, like, it's spot on, you know. And I've had that struggle myself, and I know a lot of chefs do. So the first thing, and I want to bring Peter in here, is diving into, like, think about, I wonder, like, Peter, what is the environment in a kitchen? Like, what does that kind of environment cultivate in chefs? Like, where do you think your head is at as a chef most of your career?
It's always high pressure, high stress. The thing that you always say is, you know, chefs generally work more than 40 hours, a lot more. A lot of chefs work a lot more than 40 hours. So they're spending a hell of a lot more time with the people that they work with rather than their wives or their friends or their family. And, you know, if you're working with people that you don't like, you ever notice, like, if you're working in a place that, say if it's not too busy, but you just have a lot of people bitching all the time. You get sucked into that. Even the politics of it, you know, not just like the super toxic bad influence that can go on with this stress and the pressure and people screaming and shouting and fighting. Like, if you're going to be fighting like that through service on, even just on, say, Thursday night, Friday night, all day Saturday, Sunday, you know, 40 hours of just screaming, shouting, having murder with people, having murder with people around you, you're hardly going to be able to just turn that off, you know. Last doc had gone, right, that's me, that's great, I'm going home now. And you go, how's work? Oh, grand. It doesn't work like that, you know.
And put the old mask on. I think it's a really big thing. And you were saying there about pressure, and it's like it's so true because of that environment. And the typical stereotype for chefs is like, all you're running on is caffeine, painkillers, and hatred. And it's like that's the stereotype, and
it's fucking true, yeah.
Yeah, and in a lot of cases it is, and I think there's definitely, I suppose, with our help and a lot of other people's help, that is slowly changing. But again, there is a massive amount of negativity, and if we're trying to gear this towards what we're talking about, and that's like getting your life on track, chef, especially outside the kitchen. You think about this for a second. My brother was telling me, so my brother Keelan has his own place called Variety Jones, which is in Dublin on Thomas Street. But years ago, he was working in either Locks as a fucking chef de partie, or it might have been Patrick Gibo's. I'm not too sure, but
we've all done a time in Locks.
Yeah, and he was basically there with his mate who he'd kind of come up with, who was a bit older than him. And my brother went to his mate in the kitchen. He goes, "Yeah, I'm taking piano lessons." Like, I started learning piano on my days off, just getting 1 or 2 a week. And your man turns around to him and goes, "Piano? You're a bit fucking old for that, pal. What are you talking about?" And I was like, brother turns around and is like, "What? 26? What do you mean I'm too old?" And it was just that mightn't seem like a really bad negative thing, but that's a fucking perfect example of what you're dealing with. And it's like, what do you mean you're learning? What do you mean you're trying to do something with your life outside the kitchen? Why would you be doing that? That's a bit fucking, do you know what I mean? You're a bit old for that. You might subconsciously, these things have an impact on you. It's the same thing with your fucking mom at home. You know what I mean? Like,
of course,
you don't need to be doing that now. Do you know what I mean? Just to do a little bit less of that. Anytime I'd be doing sports or I'd be working hard, my mum's, do you know what I mean? She'd be like, you need to calm down now. You need to not do as much of that. And she means well. But
my mother did the exact same thing. I don't know, Peter, you're pushing yourself too far. You're doing too much.
Big time. So these are all examples. These are all examples of your environment, and these things influence your actions. So let's flip all of this on its head, because I know for a fact that if you're trying to get your life back on track, and what I mean by getting your life back on track is establishing a structure outside the kitchen where you're more active, you know what I mean? You're taking better care of yourself. You're being more productive on your days off, whether that's spending time with family, whether that's just going and getting shit done, like fucking cleaning your house, or going and doing your shopping for the week, or whatever it is. When it comes to getting your life back on track, your environment is absolutely gigantic. And a lot of the time, it could be the difference between you staying on track and falling off the bandwagon completely. So when we think about this now, when you join the gym, right? And you do your exercise and you do your training, what happens to the good majority of chefs is you'll do it for a week or two, you're in the shit, so you do it for a week or two because you need to change, and then all of a sudden things start to slow down, and then you end up giving up. And who is there in your corner saying, "Fuck happened? What are you doing next week?
Nobody.
Why aren't you going back and doing it? This is what you're supposed to do. Why aren't you doing what you said you would?" You don't have that, and that's what you're lacking in your environment. So what we're going to dive into is what we do in Chef Fit. And it's like, Peter, you can attest to this. Stepping in, Peter, tell me the first. So Peter was part of the first wave of lads, of chefs who came into Chef Fit, and they did the first ever 30-day challenge. Now,
founder.
Absolute founding member, pioneering the movement, lads. That's why he's here. But anyway, remember back to the first month or two, and remember the difference. So obviously you lost 10 kilos in 4 weeks, and you fucking pushed it to the max.
Yeah.
And it was videos in the group. So obviously we all have our private Facebook group. We're doing live videos. We're posting our food photos. We're competing every single week and doing weekly challenges and shit like that. Peter, when you were in that environment, why was that the difference versus maybe what you were trying before?
It was the exact opposite. You know what I mean? It keeps popping up where you're saying the lone wolf dies and the tribe survives. But from day one, we were already pushing ourselves harder than we would have. Even as you were saying at the start, if you're going on your own for your first week, you're going at it, and everything is going great. But your first week, when you have another 10, 20, 30 or 50 chefs, like-minded people doing the same thing, you start to push yourself further than you think you even could have.
Big time.
And everybody becomes like one big team against each other, if that makes any sense, you know?
Totally.
So the challenge is, mixing the challenges up every week obviously keeps it nice and fresh for us, but it helps big time when it comes to those days when you wake up and go, do you know what? I'm not up for it today. I'm not up for it today, or you know what I mean. You have all the excuses that the chefs have, but you're going to have to post up a video later on not have to. Do you know what I mean? But me, I do a lot of live videos and I do a lot of posts, and I've said from the start that the main reason why I go so hard on that is to push myself, not just to influence other people and to hopefully get some other people that might be having that day where their foot is off the gas pedal a little bit, or they're kind of teetering on the edge of, right, will I go and get it done, or will I just, I'll just stay in bed and fast for a day, take one day off. I know that turns into 2 days, that turns into 3 or 4 days. So I now expect other people to expect more from me. And that was something that I used as a tool within ChefFit, and it changed my own habits. It changed the way I taught. It changed even when I wasn't thinking about ChefFit or thinking about the gym. It did change this new self-competitive mode that I had within myself. Now it's pure habit. I don't have those days of, or will I do this or will I do that? I'm active 7 days. Like.
Well, here's the.
If I went missing for 2 days.
Weird. Where the fuck is it? It's weird.
I have, I for sure, I know 2 people that are in the group that be texting me going, where the fuck are you? Like?
Big time.
Then other motherfuckers that start trying to come for my fucking crown as well in the weekly challenges. And we can't be having that.
But here's the thing. Like, here's the depth of it. When you have an environment like Peter's talking about, the environment in ChefFit where he came in, you've got dozens of chefs all pushing towards the common goal. Chefs are naturally competitive, and you're pushing. Now, Peter's the type of guy who stepped in. He's like, right, I'm the fucking GOAT. I'm going to fucking do this. I'm going to be, you know what I mean? I'm going to push and I'm going to push and I'm going to push. Over time, what ended up happening within that environment, Peter took on this identity as this leader, as the guy who's pushing from the front, as the guy who's looking to win every single challenge. And then over time, at the start, it might have been one of those things where it's like, fucking, it might have been a bit lighthearted, but over time that starts
banter.
That starts to become a real thing. And then all of a sudden he has this identity within the environment, within ChefFit, where all the other chefs are looking at him and expecting him to fucking win every single time. And now that expectation lies on him. And now he expects more from himself. And now that he steps into this new identity of being fucking at a higher standard, then all of a sudden his habits start to form around his identity. And because he's got these habits forming around his identity, he takes action consistently. And that's why his results have been as good as they have been. That all stemmed from having a powerful environment. It all stemmed from that. It's like this. This is the analogy you need to imagine. It's like if you're climbing Mount, I said this to a lot of chefs, but it's like if you imagine you're trying to climb Mount Everest, right? That's what you're trying to do when you're getting your life back on track. And you have the choice of, this could be your environment. You could try and climb Mount Everest, but you could climb it by yourself, except you could have a few stragglers behind you who, nag at you the odd time and go, do you really want to go up that far? Jesus, do you really want to push up the mountain that much? Maybe it's a bit safer if we stay back here. That's the life you're living right now. That's your environment, okay? Or the other environment would be this. You try and climb the mountain with 50 other people, or whatever fucking number of chefs you want to, or whoever it is. This is the same principle across any demographic. It's like you climb that mountain with, 10 people who are exactly like you, who can relate to you and are pushing towards the same goal as you, which is climb the fucking mountain. Now, let's say over the course of a couple of days, you start climbing, and then you get to the, what do you call those rest camps on Mount Everest where you climb up?
Base camps.
Yeah, so you get up to base camp and then you stay the night and then you wake up the next morning and maybe you want to stay at base camp, but everyone else in that fucking little tribe you've got there, they're going, no, what are you talking about? We're climbing up to the next base camp. Let's go. And you go, yeah, fuck, right, I got to get up and do it today. And then you do it, and then you repeat the process over and over and over again until you fucking reach the peak of the mountain. That's what an environment is. Do you understand? That's the analogy that I need to use. And that's why I don't like when I hear chefs telling me, yeah, you know, fuck it. Some lad texted me yesterday. Actually, do you know what? Actually, I'm not keen on joining Chef Fit right now. I'm gonna try. I think he said he was going to. He was trying a ketogenic diet, um, and he was gonna go for a couple of walks. And I was like, best of luck with it, man. I hope it fucking goes well for you. But like, there's no comparison in what you're doing there. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's gonna do that by himself for a week, and then he's gonna stop, and he's gonna go back because he doesn't have anyone picking him up and going, let's get the fuck up and go, chap. Let's
Do
go.
you know what, Cam? There's another thing we now bring. So instead of just having your work environment and your home environment, right? We also have the Chef Fit environment, right? This brotherhood, right?
Yeah.
We now have this tool where we have our Chef Fit environment, and we can bring that into our work environment to break that. Do you ever see when somebody just goes into the dry stores, takes the phone out and checks in? Here, lads, what's the story? Just blah, 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 you know? Sometimes it's good news, sometimes it's bad news, sometimes it's just a rant. I've done that, and it can break up that toxic environment if need be.
Massively. And another,
it's a tool.
The other knock on.
And we weren't expecting that. That wasn't something that Chef Fit original, story was going to be. Like, that was another surprise that came out of it.
Hugely. It's all part of, like, what I've tried to create here is you try and create, like, we always use the word tribe, because tribe is the way I would describe it. Do you know what I mean? And within a tribe, you have conduct and you have fucking rules and you have culture, and I know for us, we have a way of operating where we're all moving in this mission together, and we all need to act in similar ways. What I mean by that is, like, okay, right, in this environment that we have, it's like excuses aren't a choice. There's guys who make excuses. Chances are they end up disappearing after a while. And the guys who live by the code, which is the fucking principle, and you live by, I take ownership of my shit. If I make a mistake, I can put my hand up and go, do you know what? I fucked up, lads. And that's when you're going to get the support and drag you back in, and they're going to push forward. It's the ability to, admit you've made a mistake. It's the moment where you look in the group and it's like, fuck, there's lads in here really making the push. I've got to get up and do it. Like, there's a way we operate as a group and we all push forward, and that you can't really predict how powerful and what impact that actually has on you. Do you know what I mean? And it starts influencing every other part of your life. Like, you think about it like this, a lot of the lads who are in that group now, I think Liam's a very, very good example. And there's a few other lads in the group where, at first when they went into work, the lads were nearly laughing at them for trying to eat healthy and they're training and they're doing this. And then they look at them fucking 2 or 3 months later and it's like, that lad has completely transformed his life. He's a totally different person, like, in terms of his energy, his motivation. He's cooking better and he's fucking looking as good as he's ever looked.
He's fucking ripped.
He's shredded, pal. Absolutely fucking shredded, chap. That's the knock-on effect of the environment. So what you've got to understand here, Chef, is that you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And if you spend your time with fuckheads, you're going to be a fuckhead. If you spend your time with people who want to push and get better, chances are you will get better. All right. So you've got to ask yourself the question right now, who are you around that's holding you back? And this is painful, man. I've had to do this. Like, for me in Chef Fit, as I was saying to Peter about, he had to form this identity around himself within the group and he had to work his arse off. I've had to form an identity within this environment. Like, I'm leading this fucking thing. So if I'm leading this thing, like, I need to be training my arse off. Like, I'm training more now than I've ever trained. I'm doing jiu-jitsu 4 times this week. I'm fucking lifting 3 times and I'm running 3 times. Like, that's over 10 sessions in a week, and just drilling it constantly, because I'm in that environment and it's not acceptable to let the lads down, and I must push. But that's because I have these people around me and I'm very lucky for that. But in your situation, who are you around that's holding you back, and who are you around that could push you forward? Try and spend more time with the people who are going to push you and spend less time with the people who are fucking gimps. You know what I mean? It's that simple. And another way of looking at it is, sometimes you just have to, like, I always use, obviously I'm going to use Chef Fit as the example for chefs because I feel it's not as if there's someone else doing fucking Chef Fit. Like, it's the only thing. And it's the only environment where you're going to get that. But the principle remains the same. You need to get into a group that, it's like, look at CrossFit. anyone that knows anything about gyms, I've had to learn a lot from CrossFit. I've taken a lot. People laugh at CrossFit and they laugh at these fucking people doing, you know, there's a lot of
Because
fail
of the community side of it, or what?
massively. It's like,
Yeah.
now, I've never actually done CrossFit, but technically I'm a qualified CrossFit coach who went and did their course years ago. Interesting, yeah, fucking mental. That's another story in itself. Anyway, another day. But there was when I was working through the textbook, and it said, your man who owned it said, men will live and die for points on a board. And that was one of the biggest tenets they had in CrossFit, that men will live and die for points on a board. Obviously, gender fucking neutral, fucking men and women will die for points on a board. But you get my point. It's like you need an environment that's competitive. And you see in CrossFit, oh, they're not doing that fucking properly, says some fucking obese fuckhead cleaning fucking Monster Munch off his chest. Do you know what I mean? They're actually fit as fuck, the good majority of them. They're much fitter than average gym goers. They push like fuck. They love every second of it. And they're a very, 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 very tight-knit community. That's because they have that competitive environment that drives them. They're coming in there. They're seeing the competition. They're seeing the records on the board, and they're going, fuck, right, I got to beat this time. I got to get my record on that exercise. Boom, boom, boom. This lad got this. I got to fucking do that to beat him. Like, that's the environment. Do you understand? That's why it fucking works. That's why it's a multi-billion-dollar company within 15 years of starting. Like, that's some serious, serious shit. And there's a lesson to be taken from that. So, again, who are you around? Show me your friends, I'll show you your future. It's as simple as. With that in mind, Peter, anything to finish on, Chief?
Do you know where this goat persona came from originally? That shell I built around myself. No, wait to hear this, right? No, this is a lot older than that. Like, I have that goat tattoo on my leg from.
You have a goat tattoo on your leg.
I've got a fucking tattoo of a goat on my leg, and guess what it says underneath it? Goat. No fucking bullshit, man. Right, but
fucking madman.
I'll bring it down a tone for a second before we get back up. When I was from the age of about 7 up until I finished primary school, I got the absolute living daylights kicked out of me every single day, on the street and in the school. I was bullied for about 6 years solid. I mean, every day. Get out of school and just pelt it. Like, I'd either have to try and get out of school, like, catch the break and get early, or else come out a different way and go around here and climb over the back and go around there, just to avoid all these scumbags that were in the school that were baiting the living shite out of me. So it got so bad that I switched school. I was in Jim Castle and I had to change school, and I went to Sing Street. And when I went to Sing Street, I said to myself that I wasn't going to let that happen again, right? And what I did was I kind of put on this personality when I went in. I was not trying to be friends with everybody, but I had this competitive side to me where I wanted to get involved in everything that was competitive, and I wanted to win at everything that was competitive. So I wanted to get onto every football team, every GA team, the motherfucking chess club. Come at me, bro. Anything that was going, I was going for it, and I was going in to win it. And that was from the very, very start. So that was when I was like 14. I started that. And I had to put that onto myself because I felt like I didn't want to go into a new school, a new setting, and start getting bullied again.
Mad. That's fucking mental. Some fucking man.
Fucking work.
I've played this man in online chess several times. Like fucking getting caught in an old tarantula's web. He just plays with you, dabbles with you until he's done, and then he goes in for
That's it, yeah.
Yeah,
Chef is an absolute game changer, and it is 90% about the tribe. And you had said that to me on the first day, the first phone call. You said, you're working on this thing, it's going to be a tribe, it's going to be a tribe. And I said to you almost straight away, I was like, I like the sound of that, I like the tribe idea. Let's give this a bash and see how this goes.
Yeah.
And, there's a few people that have been there from the very, very start that are still very, very tribe strong. And these are the people that make me feel lazy all the fucking time. Even though I'm working out 7 days a week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In the gym 3 times, 3 runs, and then a cycle on Sunday, or whatever it's going to be. But these people make me feel lazy.
Yeah, that's everything. It's so massive.
Yeah,
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, and it's
it's a
totally.
fucking game changer.
It is a game changer. Absolutely. So, again, the lone wolf dies and the tribe survives. Chefs, with that in mind, that is episode 4. Follow us on. I've been looking into this. The first 3 episodes, I hadn't a rashers what was going on in terms of like watching this on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Give us a thumbs up or a like. If you're listening to this on Podbean, subscribe to our channel and download it or do whatever. Share it. Fucking, if you really enjoyed it, tell your friends about it. So with that in mind, I'll see you on the next one. Stay safe.